until now. You're gonna learn some things now, some strategies and basic techniques to stop a bully, whether it's a verbal bully, a cyber bully, or a physical bully. And often it's all three. They're doing all three things. So we're gonna talk about specific things that you have to do. And I've been doing anti-bullying programs in schools, in the workplace, and for adults and children for a long time. It's not just kids who are getting picked on. I've met and worked with many adults who are getting picked on in relationships and in their work relationships. It's bizarre, it's true, but it still happens. It seems like it's happening more now than it ever has before. And I see we have Peter joining us. Peter, it's good to see you. We're talking about why you can't stop a bully until now, what you have to do. And the first thing I'm gonna talk about is what you've been told before, all the different programs that I have seen over many years working in schools, working specifically in anti-bullying. And I've worked at the state level and I've worked at local levels, district levels, working on programs that do work. Good afternoon to everybody. And so, and this comes from Awkward the Cat. Awkward the Cat just joined us. You asked specifically, how do you stop a bully, or how do you stop somebody else? How do you help somebody who you see is getting picked on or bullied? And maybe you're not getting bullied, but you know somebody who is, or you've seen it, and this might give you some strategies how you can help in that situation. Or if you have kids, grandkids, what to tell them, because I'm gonna tell you now, it's worse than I've ever seen it in certain situations. The reason for that is very clear, it's very simple to me. If you look at what happens in the world, in the media, in the news, politicians are constantly bullying each other. One political group is bullying another political group. If you say certain things, you're shut down, you're canceled. All of that is bullying, and it's elevating, it's lifted up. And then to make matters worse, especially with young people, they're living in their phones. Some of them will play video games all night long, talking to other kids, and their world shrinks, and their whole world exists in here. And so when they get picked on in here, they get made fun of. Sometimes they think their world is over because it seems like it's over here. Everybody knows, everybody's picking on me. Everybody thinks I'm this, everybody thinks I'm that. And so that's the outcome. That's what's happening, right? In Afghanistan right now, it's a perfect example where you see how we got to this place. The adults who should have been protecting the kids for all these years, the adults who are taking care of the country now, are taking this approach that if you just show the bully their mirror and themselves in the mirror, you know, let them know that they're hurting your feelings. Tell them that other people are watching and they're not going to think very fondly of you if you do the wrong thing. And so what happens is you rely upon, at the international level, we're going to tell the Taliban, hey, everybody's watching you, you better make the right. That's not how that works, right? A bully's a bully. A bully's picking on you for a certain reason. So forever in schools, I keep seeing this one thing happen over and over again. The programs that I've seen in schools, when I've gone in, I've been asked to talk to the school, either the children about bullying, the teachers about a bullying, anti-bullying strategy, administration, help design some policies, or all three. They've often already been using something called the I statement. It hurts my feelings when you, and then fill in the blank. And so the idea behind the I statement was that if I let the bully know that it's hurting me, it's hurting my feelings, I don't like it, then he or she will stop, which is ridiculous. That's never been the case. The bully knows that you don't like it. That's why they're doing it. That's common sense. We all know that, but somehow we got sucked into this kinder, gentler way of trying to handle the bully. In the olden days, when I was a child and before, when you used to have to sign a permission slip, your parents had to sign it, and you brought it to school, which said, if you do the wrong thing, someone's gonna spank you. That's the way it used to be, and I'm not advocating for that, but back in those days, we didn't have the same level of bullying that we have now. We didn't have the same number of young people taking their lives and hurting themselves because they feel so alone and they feel so like their life is over at 12, 13 years old because of a bullying incident over and over and over again. It's a pandemic, right? Let's address the real pandemic, the real issues in the room. So going back to this emotional response to bullying that does not work. Telling the bully that it hurts your feelings when they do what they're doing, that will never work. They know that. They know that that doesn't work, or they know that they're hurting your feelings. That's the reason that they're doing it. They're picking on you. They're pushing your buttons. They're trying to get a reaction. They're trying to hurt your feelings. They're trying to make you look small and feel small and destroy you in front of their friends to make themselves look better. We know that. They know that. The second thing that they've tried to do, and this is really popular right now, it's usually 3 steps. Number 1 is stop. Stop being bullied. And they don't tell you how to do that, just stop. Number 2 is walk away. Or one of my favorite ones that I've seen recently, it's a very popular YouTube video. I've seen it shown and played to so many kids, and I'm standing there cringing on the inside watching these kids learn that they're supposed to act like the bully is a big grizzly bear and play dead, right? And so again, the bully is getting exactly what they want, and it's feeding them as a bully, right? They're allowed to now pick on you, hurt you, push you around, call you names, tease you, and you're not going to make them stop by playing dead, from turning your back, from trying to ignore it. I had 4 brothers growing up, and I heard this constant refrain from my parents, which was ignore them, right? Ignore your brother. You're in the backseat of the car, he's sticking his foot in your face, and your mom, and just ignore him. And how many times have you heard that? And you know that that doesn't work. Ignoring the problem doesn't make the problem go away, ever. I don't care what the problem is. You have to have some action. You have to have communication. When it's with another person, especially with a bully, there has to be some communication. And then you heard this, use your words. And what does that mean? They give you this idea, the adults, the parents, your mom, the teacher, use your words, tell them how it makes you feel. But those are the wrong words. The answer, use your words, is right, but what is the word? The word is stop. It's one word. It's not stop, please. It's not will you stop, right? Don't leave it as a question. They might say no. Don't say please stop. It's not pass the sugar, please. It's stop. It's a command. So you have to learn how to command with your words. Now, some people are going to hate this answer because they're going to say, well, you can't stand up to a bully. That's violence. You can't. But yes, it's not standing up to the bully. This is the whole point. It's not your job, especially if you're a child, it's not your job to make the bully stop. It's the bully's job to make himself stop or herself stop. And if they don't, if you're a child especially, it's the teacher's job. It's his mother's job, his father's job. It's the adult's job to handle the behavior of the bully. But what happens over and over and over again that I've seen for 30 years plus, and I mean, I can't tell you how many meetings I've sat down with somebody trying to handle these bullying situations. And the first thing I say is, you got to put your hands up and you have to say stop. But you have to do it in a very loud way, because when you just say to the teacher, he did this, he did that, she did this, the teacher's got 32 kids, sometimes more than that now. Sometimes they're online. It's even worse now than ever. And the teacher has every desire, intention to protect the child, but doesn't have the tools. Not only are they hamstrung or hand-tied by silly, ridiculous administration rules, but they just don't want to get involved with it, and they don't have the time to get involved with it. And then if they do see it, they know, well, I'm going to call Johnny's mom. Johnny's mom's going to say, well, Johnny didn't sleep well last night. Johnny's got a gluten intolerance. Johnny's dad is out of town, and he always acts like, he's going to have a million reasons. And Johnny told me that he really didn't start it, the other kids started it, and the teacher's in the middle of that, trying to negotiate all that, trying to figure it out. And so the teacher has kind of a weak response to Johnny. Hey, he feels like, well, and then that's where this whole, tell him how it makes you feel. Tell him how it makes you feel when Johnny calls you whatever the name is, or kicks you in the shin, or trips you every time you walk up to, get your pencil sharpened. And then the kid's like, it doesn't make it stop. It gets worse. Now on the playground, Johnny's looking for retribution. Johnny wants paybacks. And then it gets worse. And so the kid just gets quiet about it, shuts up, and a whole year goes by. And at the end of the year, the kid's still getting picked on by Johnny. And then the next year, he doesn't want to go back to school. A lot of kids hate going to school every day because they're getting picked on so much. And again, this isn't just for kids. It happens with adults too. And if it happens to you and you want my specific help, please reach out to me. This is something that I have specialized in for a very long time. And I found the solution. I put it in schools. We practiced it, and it works. So the first thing is putting your hands up and saying stop. And it's as simple as that. Stop. Stop means stop, right? Stop. Your hands are in this position. Even if it's a verbal attack, When you say stop and you get into a better position, which means making yourself a smaller target, you're stepping back, you're triggering something in your own brain that you're hearing yourself, and that's a very important part of this whole process. You have to be able to speak up for yourself and hear yourself saying, stop, taking action, addressing it, right? You don't have to like me, but you can't call me that name. Now that's a little bit more sophisticated. That's for someone who's a little bit older, and that takes practice and role play. But if we're gonna teach them silly things, teach kids how to say, it hurts my feelings when you call me or whatever, and then the teachers make it 10 times worse, starting in kindergarten by saying, friends, we're all friends here. And friends don't talk to friends like that, do they? And so they're using these big emotional tools to try to submit kids into better behavior. And the sweet, innocent, nice kids always get punished. It's like a society where the people who want to learn how to defend themselves because they're law-abiding, they get punished with all these laws that take away their rights and their ability to defend themselves, and the criminals are allowed to run free. See what's happening here? It's kind of universal. It's happening in the schools, it's happening in the cities, the states, and it goes all the way up. It's like we're upside down a little bit. So you have to learn how to get yourself back on your feet, put your hands up, and you say stop. Number one, you say stop. Number two, if you can, don't say that to me. Use the kid's name, especially if it's in a school setting. If you're on the playground or it's during quiet time, because a lot of it happens in the classroom, and a lot of it also happens in daycare centers and after school programs. So teach your child, teach the kids how to say, get in a better position, hands up, and don't just say stop, but yell it. What I want to happen is the teacher who's over there taking care of 12 other things has to hear the child say, stop, Johnny, don't touch me. And she has to look over and see it. Now, when she sees it happening, and this is where role-playing comes in, because the first few times you do it, it's not gonna be loud and clear. But when you get loud and clear, stop, Johnny, don't touch me, the teacher looks over, she catches Johnny in the act. And this is the beautiful moment. This is the moment where everything changes. I promise you this is true. This happens, I've seen it over and over and over again. As soon as the teacher sees Johnny picking on the kid, the teacher will then, big smile as she goes over, Johnny, stop, and she'll take care of it. That's her job. But she hasn't been able to up till now because she hasn't seen it. Johnny's really good at doing it while she's not watching. Usually all she sees is after she picks on the kid and he is crying and whining, she's annoyed that he's whining and she's addressing his behavior as the problem, when Johnny's the one who should be in trouble. But when you say stop and you're loud and clear, snaps her head over, she sees Johnny doing it, she sends that little email or does the silly little class dojo and gives him the bad mark, and his mom gets it right away, and she comes in to save his bum like she always has and pull his bum out of the fire and fight his battles for him, because that's why he's a bully in the first place. Then the teacher says, no, don't give me the stuff that he was tired last night, his dad's out of town, he's gluten intolerant. I saw it, or that the other kid was at fault. I saw it. I looked over, there he was, getting ready to hit the kid, or he's getting ready to push him or trip him, or I heard him calling him a name. And the other little boy, he's tired of it. He's been getting picked on by Johnny since the 2nd grade. It's the 5th grade. And he said, stop, Johnny, don't touch me. But you have to do it loud and clear. And again, you have to role play it. This is something that's really important to you, and you have somebody who's getting bullied, role play this. Now, there are many layers to this, but it all is going to come back to these 3 basic things that you have to do. 1, get in a better position, hands up and open. And then when the teacher looks over, what does she see? The international sign, universal language of stop. This is fighting. If she looks over and the kid's like, stop, Johnny, he's in trouble because they have 0 tolerance fighting, no fighting at school. Both kids are in trouble. And she says, you're not allowed to fight at school. And the kid says, Johnny started it. And she says, I don't care who started it. It happens all the time. Instead, stop, Johnny, don't touch me. She turns over. Johnny's like this, you're like this. Who's in trouble? It's clear. That's why we do that. It's so simple, it's so clear. We apply this in schools with me and my staff. When I had a nonprofit and the university professor would go in, talk to the teachers, talk to the counselors, talk to the students, apply this, and goes almost to 0. Bullying disappears. It's still there, we're all human, we're all making mistakes. But the problems that keep recurring, that bullying goes away because the kids learn how to talk to each other. It's all about communication. You have to talk to each other, and you have to tell the other person, not it hurts your feelings, because maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just hurts your face when he slaps you in the face. Maybe it hurt when you tripped and you stabbed yourself with your own pencil because he keeps tripping you on the way to the pencil sharpener. And you have every right to get up and say, stop, Johnny, don't trip me, don't touch me, back off. But you have to speak up and say that and teach the children to say it. Because we tell them all the time, use your words, friends, use your words. This is a true story. Last year, there was a real situation. My son, he's getting picked on by another kid. He's getting pulled in all the time. He comes home, he's so frustrated every single day. And I said, you've been taking my class for a long time, son. Well, how do we handle it? Dad, I did handle it. I put my hands up. I said, stop, said his name. Teacher looked over and she said to me, can you say that in a nicer way? She said, what? New first-year teacher. She said to my son, can you say that in a nicer way? And I said, here's what you tell her. I said, and I'll go tell her myself too, because I work there, right? I'll see her the next day and I'll reinforce it. But here's what you have to tell her. No, I can't say it in a nicer way. And it's not the teacher's fault because she's a millennial. She's been raised in this whole BS system of tell the Taliban that the world is watching. If you hurt some of our soldiers and shoot one of our airplanes out of the ground, then they're not going to feel very nicely about you. And your reputation may. That's the silliness that we're in right now. That's the silliness in every situation. Instead of just direct communication. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like what I believe in. You don't have to like the color of my skin. You don't have to like how I do my hair. You don't have to like how tall, how short, how big, how small I am. But you have no right, none, to call me that name. Don't call me that name. Not please don't call me that name. Don't, can you not call me that name? Just don't. And then if they continue to do that, then you have to escalate it. And the escalation, you go and you tell an adult. You tell your mom, you tell your dad. You tell the person at school. Now, and if you see this, you reach out to the other person. This is really important for young people right now, especially tweens, below, those kids who are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They are at huge risk right now. A lot of those kids hurting themselves because of this, and they're getting picked on here, and they're getting compromised. They've done something they're not supposed to because parents are so clueless, and it's almost like a different language, and they have no idea. When they realize, if you've got a kid who's playing Fortnite from 9 o'clock at night until 9 o'clock the next morning, and some of you do, then when you wake, and then they don't have any sleep, right? The whole time they're on the headset saying inappropriate things. And if you don't pay attention to that, you're gonna have a major problem. You have to set some boundaries. But when you see that, when you see somebody else who's getting picked on, and this is for Awkward the Cat, somebody else is getting picked on, you reach out and you say, hey, I saw that. That's not cool. Are you okay? And you let them know they're not alone, because it's that sense of loneliness, that feeling of loneliness that is causing so many kids to hurt themselves. You have to address the idea that they are not alone and that you value them, that you care about them as a human being. And here's the bottom line of all this stuff. This is not about changing somebody else's behavior. It's about putting your hands up and changing your behavior and stopping the cycle of you constantly reacting and learning how to start responding and being able to say, that's what we do in martial arts. That's the whole purpose of martial arts. Put your hands up, get in a better position, back up, don't come closer, I will defend myself. That's basic common self-defense, right? Hands are up and open so you can respond to the threat. Now let's talk about if it becomes physical. And then if you have any specific questions, throw them in here real quick. If you have any other specific questions, let me know, and then I'll try to address them as I see them. I got some dry throat or whatever, but I'm working through it, right? I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. In the situation where it's a physical bully, where it's pushing, all the video cameras come out on the phones, all the kids are gathered around, and he said he's going to beat you up after school, and he caught you after, and it's a real thing. That happens too. That's still a big issue. The physical bullying is still happening, and a lot of times it's tandem. It's happening along with the cyberbullying or the stuff that's happening in the hallways when the kid comes by and makes it. They still do that, believe it or not. You know, they've been doing that in high schools probably for 100 years, but now it's worse because then he's also posting a meme and posting a picture of her or him, and then a bunch of other people are jumping on, and it's a bunch of cowardly, disgusting behavior. But the reason they're getting away with it is, one, the adults don't know how to handle it. I cannot tell you how many grown men and women who are school teachers and administrators, when you have this conversation, feel like they have no answer. They have no answer. And they act like they do, and I'm not picking on you, they act like they do, but they simply don't, because Everything that's been put out so far is this kumbaya, let's all feel good, and let's tell the bully how it makes us feel, and let's all teach social and emotional development, and they'll say that all the time, and it's true. Social skills will help you with bullying, but specifically how, and what's your timeline? The kid's picking on me every single day in the 6th grade. When am I supposed to wait till I, make it through the 7th grade, the 8th grade? I develop all these great social skills, and then just magically I can handle them. And that's how they're addressing this stuff. Instead, you need a simple structure. Hands up and open, get in a better position. If the bully's here, you step away from it. Your hands are between you and the bully. Whether it's physical or verbal, you say stop. You look right in their eyes. If you know their name, use their name. Using someone's name is called a pattern interrupt. If I say stop, Sensei Emmett, I saw you on here, I thought I'd use you. For example, I know we help each other out. Stop, Sensei Emmett. Don't call me that name, right? Don't touch me. And my hands are interrupting your line of sight. All those pattern interrupts force the bully to stop and think and make a decision. Does he want to continue to bully you? Does he want to continue to bully? He or she has to make a conscious decision. Yes, I'm going to continue picking on you. Yes, I'm going to continue picking. Most of the time, they stop. If they don't, you ask the question. If it's more of a verbal thing, and you say, after you say you don't have to like me, but you can't pick on me, you can't talk to me like this, you can't touch me, you can't kick me, whatever. They continue to say things to you. You can ask a simple question: are you mad at me? And the answer is yes or no. They'll say yes, and you can say, why are you mad at me? Because you told everybody that I was stupid. And then you could say, yeah, you're right, I did say that. I was stupid for saying it. I apologize. Now it's done. You're communicating. It's the hardest thing in the world, is to have clear communication. Well, for some of us it is, right? But that's a very difficult thing. Your hands are up and open. Stop. Are you mad at me? Yes. Why are you mad at me? Because I don't like your stupid face. Then you can say, you don't have to like my stupid face, but you can't touch me. Back up. And that's also communication. When you use their name, pattern interrupt, you have to think. When you ask a question, pattern interrupt, they have to stop and think. Every one of these places has these pattern interrupts that you put in stop the habitual bullying. Most kids bully because out of habit. It's just a habit. They get used to picking on this kid, and they're picking on this kid, they're picking on that kid because they get social status. Other kids think they think they're funny or whatever. They become the center of attention. All that stuff is true. All the things we know about why bullies bully, that's all true. We don't have to debate that or discuss that, but it's how you make them stop. And again, when it comes down to it, it's not the child's job to stop the bully. It's the bully's job to stop the bully, and it's the child's job to protect himself, herself. That's what I tell my students all the time. I'm going to give you all the tools to defend yourself, and your job is not to make that bully change his behavior. You can stop the bully, and you can create this shield between you and him and her, so that if they hit or strike or punch, then you're in this flinch block. You naturally will protect yourself. And if you have to, you can physically defend yourself. But you're not allowed to fight in school. You're not allowed to. So if the teacher turns her over and sees you, and you're like this, you're like, stop, bully. You start punching and chopping his neck and kick. You grapple him, and you jiu-jitsu, arm bar him, choke him out, which is the solution. Some people have said that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm not saying don't learn how to do that. That's good. You learn how to do that. That's that whole Ronald Reagan concept years ago, that if you have a strong arsenal, strong defense, you don't have to go around popping off at people, losing your temper, getting in petty little fights because you have low self-esteem and low self-confidence. That's a big reason why they do it. When you know how to defend yourself, and I was just trying to read the comments to see if you had a specific question. Those are all funny comments, though. They're pretty good. And good advice. Since Sam is talking about verbal judo, learn verbal judo. And at the same time, verbal judo, the concept of judo is taking the force of somebody, turning around. It's like Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, anything else, and learning how to turn things around onto somebody else. And that's all good stuff. I believe in verbal judo. I believe in being able to diffuse the fight. I believe in not ever having to fight, never becoming physically violent if you don't have to. I also believe in the idea that you have every right to defend yourself. You have every right to make somebody stop. You have every right not to get picked on, pushed around, teased, bullied for the next 3 years of your life in middle school because the adults in the school don't know how to handle it when you take it to the teacher. And because that happens over and over. When I usually come into the picture and I'm working with somebody, a child, on stopping the bully, which we do effectively every time, it's after they have talked to the school, they even went to the school board, they've talked to the principal, and it still continues. They talk to the other kid's mom, and it still continues. And it's bizarre how that happens over and over and over again. And so if you can learn how to put your hands up, use your words, but know what words to use. And it starts with stop. Now, let's talk about if you're in this position and they do throw a punch, you can block, you can move, and very simple. And if it's a situation where you're nowhere near school, or you're an adult and you're out on the street and the bully is in the neighborhood, because that's true for some people where they live, then you defend yourself, right? Simple self-defense. First thing is situation awareness. If you see the bully coming, cross the street, go the other way. At some point, especially if you think they have a weapon or a knife or something, but at some point, you might want to start to say, you know what, this is my neighborhood. This is my side of the street. We can share it. And then you have to physically defend yourself. If it gets to the point where it's physical self-defense, always get in a better position. Make eye contact. Tuck your chin a little bit so they don't smack your chin, knock you out, right? If they take hold of you, bring your hands together. Even if he's holding your wrists and he's stronger or she's stronger, you can grab your own hand, and now you've got leverage. They're not going to be able to hold on to you. You can strike into the face or into the throat, elbows to the head, drop elbow into the body. Simple self-defense. You don't have to get into a street fight. It's not about street fighting. Anti-bullying, stopping a bully is not the same as street fighting, where people sometimes think, well, I need to learn how to street fight. What happens in the street fight? A lot of times you're in the wrong place. If that's happening to you, and most people worry that's going to happen, and it never really does. But if you can get in a better position and you make eye contact, verbal command, back up, stop, don't touch me, you're too close. Get your hand, you don't have to like me, but you can't touch me. And then if they do, grab your own hand and immediately and viciously, for self-defense, defend yourself. That's simple. 1, elbows, and then drop them into the body. 4 or 5 elbows, something like that. But you have to start with the verbal response. Again, it's about communication. You want to stop a bully, learn how to communicate what's in here. Because a lot of times kids will come home, and it's like all of us. Adults do it too. We've taken that small incident and unpacked it in our head and turned it into a 3-ring circus, and all this stuff happened that didn't really happen. It was a very small slight, or it was a little bit of a thing. And then when we go to school, we make it worse, or it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Time feeds fear. As soon as you can, address it. The faster, the better. When it first starts, if you can smile at him, here's the verbal judo, and he's calling you a name, and you say, it seems like you don't like me. That's okay. You have every right not to like me, but don't call me that name. And then you smile and you walk away. If you have the confidence, you can do that. And you will be able to do that the more that you practice, no matter what your situation is. But just to recap real quick, speak up for yourself. If you see it happening to somebody else, reach out to them and say, hey, I saw that too. You want me to go talk to somebody about it? Do you want me to go with you and talk to the teacher? Let them know they're not alone. Those are the 2 most important pieces of advice that I do give to people in middle school and high school all the time, 4th, 5th grade too, is that when it's happening to somebody else, a lot of kids are seeing it. A lot of kids know about it. A lot of kids have seen it, especially with the social media now. A lot of kids have seen it on their social media. Take that to the parent. Let the parent see it. Let the mom be shocked and outraged so that she reaches out to the school and say, did you see what this kid did? And then that kind of stuff is easier these days because there's evidence, there's proof. Now the authorities, the adults, they will take care of it when they see that. So make sure you reach out and you say something. If it's more in-person bullying and it's verbal, same thing. Even though if you don't think it's physical, you still get in a better position, and it's very loud. And the reason, like I said before, was when you say stop, don't talk to me like that. Stop, Jimmy. Use his name. I don't want to pick on Jimmy and Johnny today. Stop, Jimmy. And then the teacher looks over, sees it. Jimmy, the teacher knows Jimmy's always picking on kids. She can never catch him in the act. Now she catches him, she calls the mother, she takes care of it, she gives him the consequence, and he has to make a decision. Am I going to go back and pick on that kid who's always putting his hands up and speaking loud and saying, get out of my face, Jimmy? No, he's looking for the one who is, stop. And I'm not making fun of you if that's you. Or I'm not making, you know what I'm saying, right? The bully's going for a response. He's trying to push buttons. He's trying to get them all riled up. He wants them to whine and complain and cower and everything else. So when you stop doing that and you start speaking up for yourself and your hands are up, just in case he throws a punch or whatever, then you say, that he has to pick somebody else. You no longer fit whatever subconscious weird need he has to pick on somebody who's weaker than he is. That's his need, right? That's why he's coming after you in the first place. Once he runs into you and his assumption is proven wrong because he thought you were smaller, he thought that you weren't as confident, he thought you were whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, back up, don't touch me. You don't have to like me, but you can't. Then they pick somebody else. It's super simple. Is it easy? No. Can you teach it with maybe a couple of days, 3 or 4, 5 days, practicing every day? Your son comes home. How was it in school? What happened with Jimmy? He did that? Did you tell the teacher? What'd she say? Okay, yeah, she must not have seen it. All right, tomorrow when you go to school, here's what we're going to do with Jimmy. You put your hands up and say, Jimmy, but the teacher said I can't talk loud in class. That's okay. She's going to be okay with it. As long as you say the wrong thing. If you say, Jimmy, you stupid jerk, I hate your face, you're going to be in trouble. But if you say, Jimmy, don't touch me. And she looks over and your hands are like this and Jimmy's getting ready to touch you. She's going to be happy because she wants to catch Jimmy. So you have to talk to your children, practice with the children, do a lot of role playing, and then when they come home, you coach them just like a basketball coach, a golf coach, tennis coach, and you say, how'd it go today? What happened when you tried that? Oh, it didn't work out. Let's try it. Let's practice again tomorrow. And then when they go off to school in the morning, hey, I packed you lunch, or here's your lunch money, or whatever. Remember, when you get to school today, on recess, Jimmy's probably going to come up. He might come over and do what he did yesterday or last week. And when he does, what are you going to do? Stop, Jimmy, and practice that. And then one day your son, your daughter comes home and you say, I agree with Sensei Emmett. I'm not going to read that out loud, Sensei Emmett, but yes, I agree with that. And you come home, or Jimmy comes home, or your son comes home, your daughter comes home, and you say, how'd it go on the play? Oh, Mom, I got to tell you. Dad, I got to tell you. Jimmy started to do this, and I said, stop, Jimmy. The teacher looked over and snatched his little ears up and took him off to the principal's office, or sent him to the principal's, or whatever. And Jimmy was so mad at me, but I don't care. I'm tired of it, or whatever it was. And then you keep it going until it stops, and it doesn't happen anymore. And again, I'm not just saying this as out of theory. All that other garbage. There was the guy Peter, Paul, and Mary. And so a lot of you are old enough to know about Peter, Paul, and Mary. Peter Yarrow wrote a song of Peter, Paul, and Mary. And it became a country hit in this country for like 6 weeks. But it was a country musical hit. But he would sing it. It didn't sound like the country song. There was no twang. And it was something like, I'm a little boy with glasses. Don't pick on me. And he went on and had 2 or 3 things. I'm a little girl with braces. Don't pick on me. And then all the teachers at this conference, big statewide conference, they roll this Peter Yarrow song out, and he's playing up on the large screen, streaming his acoustic guitar. What else, right? And I'm not kidding. The tears are streaming down their faces as they all had their arms locked and swinging, shoulder to shoulder, bawling, because they could picture all the times as little girls, Jimmy was pulling their pigtails and calling them names, whatever. And and this is for high school. And then these districts would pay money for this ridiculous program and go back and put back then it was VHS tape, put the tape in, it was probably CD, put the CD in, and then, get all the kids in the high school auditorium or in the gym to come down and watch this presentation of this guy singing this song and see all these teachers up there just crying, thinking, oh, now the bullies are going to stop. Now that they saw Peter Yarrow singing, I'm a little kid with glasses, don't pick on me, it hurts my feelings. And there were a couple of us in the room who just were sitting there looking at each other thinking, not another one. We just got rid of the I statement. We just got rid of telling them to quit pay, it hurts our feelings. Now you're going to make all these high school kids watch this ridiculous old hippie singing about getting picked on, and that's not going to make them stop. They're just in, and I'm sure it didn't. I was never in one of those high school presentations, but I bet you money that a bunch of kids saw that and thought, and they went out and they picked on them even worse. And my point is this. That's an aside. The point is this. Don't wait for the adults to do something about it, because they're not. And some of them are. There are some great administrators, great teachers who do have a plan, but most of them have no plan. And since they have no plan to protect the people, their students, the bullies are getting away with it. So you have to give the anti-bullying skills to your family, to your kids, to yourself, and then go in and apply it. And again, practice it, or it doesn't come natural. And it's not easy, but it works. And you want to learn something that gives you some value in life, learn how to talk, because then you're going to use the rest of your life in every relationship, every job that you have. Maybe you'll have your own business. Maybe you'll be a teacher, and you'll have some strategies that work. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you in just a little bit. We're going to do some weapons next.